Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you tonight. Just got off work, came home. Boom! It's Super DVD Tuesday. Here we are with the Blu-ray release from WWE. This is Shawn Michaels, Mr. Wrestlemania. There's Shawn Michaels right there, the epic picture of WrestleMania 12. Shawn Michaels finally reaching the top of a WWE after, working so hard as that, sort of mid-card, tag team wrestler, finally breaking through as a single star, making his way through the Intercontinental title mid-card rank like that, and then finally, boom, there he is. I mean, Shawn Michaels, one of the most complete wrestlers I ever watched as a kid growing up. Like I said, when I started watching wrestling, this guy was a bottom of the end tag team wrestler that never really reached the top, never really had the time to become a tag team champion, and then we all know what happened to Marty. Marty got thrown through the barbershop window. And from there, Shawn went on to mid-card Intercontinental title, status where he became a star. And then from there, he rose his way up the top. Honestly, when Shawn Michaels was the boy toy, I never really was a fan of him. Him and the whole heel, with Sherry. I just didn't get it. I just really hated this guy. And not like I hate wrestlers now today just because they just don't get over and they don't go with me. Just like, I honestly hated Shawn Michaels. I didn't know what he stood for. I really didn't know what the meaning of the word gay was. But to me, Shawn Michaels was gay. That's the only way I can describe how I thought of Shawn Michaels back in the day, and just now, I can't believe how much when I watch this guy's matches, he blows me away. There's not really too much on this set that's really gonna push the envelope to make you want to really buy this. You either, you want to have this in your collection, or you don't. Most people like me are already gonna have these sets. There's the DVD collection you can see up there on the wall is the WrestleMania anthology, so it's not like we're really missing anything here on these sets. But if you roll through it real fast, you just walk down memory lane of Shawn Michaels, and the one thing I want to get off of here is the discussions in between the matches to see what really comes out of there. Like right here, you have a walk down memory lane going to New York, and that goes into WrestleMania 5, talking about the Rockers versus the Twin Towers. We have the popcorn spot with them against the Orient Express. We'd love to hear anything they have to say about the Orient Express. One of my favorite tag teams. They really never really achieved any success, and you don't really ever hear anybody talk about the Orient Express. So even to hear Shawn Michaels talk for him, even if it's for 30 seconds, is going to be awesome to me. And we have championship aspirations going up against Haku and the Barbarian. Time to make a split. That's when the Rockers split up. Maybe we'll get to see the barbershop window there. Shawn Michaels versus Tito Santana. Good match at WrestleMania 8. Of course, right then he was El Matador. Then we go into WrestleMania 9, one of my favorite WrestleManias. Nothing on there is really spectacular, but just being an outdoor event with the whole toga theme and everything, I really like to watch that Mania every now and then. Nothing really spectacular on it, but this Shawn Michaels versus Tatanka match, I believe, was the opener. I think that Shawn was the opener a few years in a row. Right here, I'm pretty sure that the Tito match was an opener as well. But this was an Intercontinental title match. He was the champion. A lot of people have said that Shawn Michaels used a little bit of his pull. The Click wasn't the Click yet. This is only 93. But Tatanka tells a story like he was supposed to win the strap that day, and he didn't find out till later. But I guess Shawn already had Vince's ear in 93. Then we have Shawn Michaels versus The Ladder. Of course, the match that made him a star at WrestleMania 10 against Razor Ramon. That match, launched him into the main event scene. Of course, he wins the Royal Rumble that January, and then there he is, Shawn Michaels versus Diesel at WrestleMania 11. It's funny how, Razor is the guy who wins WrestleMania 10. Spoiler alert. The match was 20 years ago. So, honestly, if you didn't know, that's your own fucking fault. But, Razor never really went up from there. He stayed in that Intercontinental spot. Of course, 2 years from then, he was wrestling for WCW, and you could say that he rose up the ranks. He never really became a single star for them. He won the United States Championship. He won the TV title. He won the tag title with Kevin Nash multiple times. Became one of the biggest names in wrestling, but never really won the strap. Was always the guy behind Hogan. So who knows what would have happened if Razor Ramon would have stayed in WWE, WWF at the time. But, Shawn goes on to WrestleMania the next year, doesn't get the win over Diesel. They stay with Diesel. But then the next year, WrestleMania 12, Shawn Michaels versus Bret the Hitman Hart. They had so much faith in these guys. 1 hour Iron Man match. This match, to me, honestly, if you've seen it once, you've seen it 1,000 times. That's all you really need to see. It goes down to the wire. It goes into sudden death. I love the storyline that it goes off with Bret Hart where he feels like he was screwed because, it goes to sudden death. No one really put that on the table that was going to happen. But this is WrestleMania. They need to find a winner. Shawn gets the win out of the middle of nowhere. I think it comes like 3 minutes into sudden death. And Bret is pissed. And, of course, that goes off into his storyline where he becomes, what the fuck am I talking about? I forgot. But, of course, that goes into, Bret the Hitman Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, which launches Stone Cold up the card even more. But a whole much starts right here at WrestleMania 12. Of course, due to injuries and losing his smile, Shawn doesn't wrestle at 97. Of course, they say that it's because they told him he was going to lose to Bret that year. So he just said, fuck it, I ain't wrestling. And then he goes to Shawn Michaels versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Of course, this is his last match before he leaves WWE for 6 years to head on out into the retirement role. And then he finally finds his smile again, comes back to WWE. And that's pretty cool because it starts the second disc of the BluRay. And, of course, that's when he, Young in His Salvation, it's him versus Jericho. Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle, which is one of my favorite wrestling matches of all time. Anything that he can say about that match is going to be awesome. The Boss is an idiot. Then you have Shawn Michaels versus McMahon. You have Shawn Michaels versus John Cena in the main event. That goes to Shawn Michaels versus Ric Flair, Disney World, and then it sucks. I don't know what that is, but it's going to be talking about Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker. Then we have The Dive, Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker again. Oh, that's got to be talking about when Taker breaks his neck. Oh, God, that's not part of the match, and I finally find that out now that they really were dying for time. I'm going to put this in as soon as I'm done, and I'm watching that part right now. And then we have the retirement at WrestleMania there in 2010. I was lucky enough to attend that as my first WrestleMania. We have the BluRay exclusives down here where the Rockers talk about the Twin Towers. Shawn Michaels with Rhonda Shear and Pamela Anderson. Then we have Shawn Michaels and Sid talking about Nicholas Cicerto. That's the guy from fucking NYPD Blue. We have Shawn Michaels post-interview match. That's from WrestleMania 19. After getting hit in the nuts. I'm sure that's a DVD exclusive. They just popped them in here. Then we have Shawn Michaels says goodbye backstage from WrestleMania 26. And we just had some random stories about leaving the company because you're a girl. One demand for Rick. The Ric Flair watch. Hell to pay. At least the dude's got some balls. The end of an era. Mr. WrestleMania versus The Streak. The Shawn Michaels Encore Tour. WrestleMania Wish List, Flair, Michaels, and Jericho. I don't know what that is, but that's a must-watch right there. This is the stuff right here. I mean, this part right here. BluRay exclusives. Honestly, in my mind, this is the stuff that's not going to be loaded onto the network. Once the network comes up in a month, in 2 weeks, whatever it is, I'm sure you'll get these big bulk of matches. Even if you have to go into all the WrestleMania ones and watch them one by one. But this stuff, I'm guaranteeing that's what's going to keep DVDs alive. It's because you want the extra content. Boom. Back to Shawn again on the floor, checking himself out in the ring there. It's his ring. Get out of my ring. There he is checking out the title. Can't believe it's his. BluRay exclusives include pre- and post-match footage, plus bonus interview footage, and just a whole bunch of stuff. WrestleMania. the Icon, the Heartbreak Kid, the Rockers, and Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Bret the Hitman Hart, Razor Ramon, the Dead Man, and so much more. Right there, from beginning to end, Mr. WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels, the man himself.